All right, my friends, this week we're talking Xbox prices, the cost of our hobby, Giant Bomb, and Polygon. It's just a downer of an episode. Stay tuned if you really want to. All right, my friends.
That was great. That was a great intro there. Yeah.
If you stayed past the bumper music, welcome. It's episode 476 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I'm the professor at Prof Plays Games on Blue Sky. Over there's Anthony, the dev at Summerspeak on Blue Sky. Yeah, man.
I mean, it's one thing to say it's a little bit downer, but then you're like, yeah, you can stay if you want. Whatever.
Yeah. If you really want to listen to this shit. Oh, my God, man. Just like, what a week, man. I don't know. Wow. I mean, things are coming to a head in a lot of ways, across a lot of industries and life. But my God.
Yeah. Yeah. It isn't the brightest point for the game industry as a whole right now. Definitely honestly, when we talk about Giant Bomb and Polygon and that stuff, that is a trend that's been continuing for a long time, with games media just being basically shit on by venture capitalism and all those aspects. On the other side, on the price, we can get to of being like, it is a trend that's been coming for probably for a while, but oh boy, is it accelerating rapidly at this point. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But like everything's, I mean, yes, games are getting more expensive. Everything is more expensive. Absolutely everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, fucking eggs, like things that matter. I mean, games matter to us, but it's a fucking hobby and increasingly more so a luxury hobby. But fucking eggs, fucking groceries, rent. I mean, Jesus Christ, my house that I bought in 2016, if I were to buy it now, I would be spending on my mortgage 2.5 times what I pay right now.
Yes.
And that's like, this house isn't any different. It's just crazy how much you spend on, the grocery cart that I usually get at Vaughn's or whatever. 8 years ago, and how much I get for the same price now is just much, much less. Video games, we recognize, are not the most important thing in the world, but this is a video game podcast. So, we're going to talk about them, but also I think they're a pretty neat prism through which to see some of this economic activity. So,
and I'd argue everyone, even with increased costs and everything, once an outlet has hobbies, things that they enjoy and bring joy to them. And games are one of those ways that people do it. And, but if you want the certain games now, you're going to be paying a premium for that. Did I make the prediction early in the year that like GTA was going to cost more?
We had talked about it. I don't remember if you made a specific prediction, but if there was a game,
I didn't think it was $100, but I was like, it's not going to be 70. It's going to be more than that. So,
well, now GTA is delayed out to mid next year.
This year.
So who knows where, who's going to go to 90, who's going to go to 100. We're having those special editions that are those prices anyways for people. Yeah. They kind of, I don't know, squeeze blood from a stone.
Just going to be that?
Right. I mean, Mario Kart obviously is, Nintendo took a lot of ire. If you look at the YouTube algorithm, it's like Nintendo's at fault for all of this. It's like, actually, no, Nintendo is not at fault for all of this. But they certainly have.
They rip the Band-Aid off. They're the first. Any one of them that's going to be the first to do it is going to get blamed.
Exactly.
There's a whole lot of reasons why it's happening, but one of those big companies would be the first to be like, yeah, we're ripping the Band-Aid off, and we're going.
Well, Nintendo went, or Xbox went really quickly after.
They really did.
Well, that was such a strange one, too. The news is basically that they've raised the price on the Xbox Series X, S.
Everything, all the hardware.
All the hardware, all the accessories, and then their games are going to be $80 starting in the fall. But the hardware stuff, the changes were effective immediately. It wasn't even like, we're going to do this in 2 weeks, so, buy while you can. Like, there's stuff on the shelves already that didn't cost that much money.
It is now... It is quite the thing now that we're talking about, a mid-generation price increase instead of mid-generation price decrease.
Do you know it's how wild it is that, the Switch never went down, ever went down.
Nope.
They made the Switch Lite for a cheaper one, of course, but then you saw the PS5 prices go up, and now Xbox prices go up. You know how crazy this is, Anthony? I am seriously considering buying a PS5 Pro. And then selling my digital, and then there's a bundle at Costco that comes with a couple controllers or whatever.
Oh, I saw it when I was there last time.
Yeah. The PlayStation this week is gonna raise the price of their shit, or next soon in response. So if I'm going to upgrade, which I didn't really want to do, this is probably the most cost effective time to do it when I can sell the controllers, I can sell my old PS5 and defray the cost down to $450 or something like that. And it's shit. If I want to do this, I better do it now, because if I wait, it will be far more expensive and not. It's already almost not worth it. But then it would be absolutely not worth it. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm debating at this point, which is crazy because it doesn't seem like something that is worth it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I assume Sony's going to follow suit. They could surprise me, but I don't see why they would. They're affected by cost increases like everybody else, and they want to have a certain profitability. But, I don't know. It's really hard. At this point, I'm okay, Microsoft really is just setting up their consoles and everything is just premium, true luxury item.
Yeah,
completely,
absolutely.
Totally. Not that they were selling a huge amount of consoles to begin with anymore, but I'm okay, cool. How much is a Series S now?
$389 or something like that. $379, up from $250 or $280. It was a significant jump. Obviously tariffs come into play. I don't know where Microsoft makes most of their stuff, but probably unlike Nintendo, they probably didn't shift away from China.
Yeah, I mean they're not making it in the US.
No, absolutely not.
It's Asia somewhere. It doesn't have to be China. They probably get parts from all over the place. The assembly is probably somewhere in Southeast Asia, most likely, or Mexico. Physical games are made in Mexico pretty exclusively for North America.
Yep.
So, I mean, that didn't... So, of course, the digital prices are going to follow suit, but it didn't surprise me. Physical games are going to go up about just over 10%. That makes sense, because that's where they're coming from. And there's just a flat 10% tariff on everything now. So that doesn't surprise me, and it doesn't surprise me that they'd be well, if we're going to charge $80 for physical, we're just going to make the digital price the same. Because we really haven't ever seen the digital price be less than the physical price from the AAA publishers.
No, and for the platform holders, I wonder why. I mean, I don't wonder why. It's money, but
you're correct.
That's the answer. But a thought experiment would be: I own the platform. I don't have to give 30% to anyone. I could incentivize you to buy the digital by having it be 70 instead of 80. And then you'll buy it, and I don't have to share that revenue with anyone because I'm the platform holder. Yeah. But they're not doing that. I think probably just not piss off retailers, Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the main one. They want their...
Especially when they're trying to launch a console,
Yeah. Funny thing now. This is a thing. So, right now, Sony has a bundle for PS5 Slim Digital for $399.
That's with the Astrobot game, right?
Yep, comes with Astrobot. The Series S is now more expensive than that PS5 bundle.
It's the Series S is more than $399?
Yes. The
Really?
PS5 Slim the $429. Series S with 1 terabyte of storage was $350, and it went to $429.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So right now you can get
not there.
You're not getting a disc-based PS5, but why would you ever buy an S at this point?
Yeah.
At that price. Like
Except for
while
it being
while these prices stay until Sony raises their prices. But
well, in the yeah, exactly. So right now we've got Microsoft who's raised their prices, and obviously they're citing economic conditions, which is just it's a fucking tariff.
Yeah, I know.
They're just
I know.
Too cowardly to say it's Trump's tariffs, but it wasn't something that was like while these economic conditions remain, this will be the price, but later we'll lower them. No, these fucks, if tariffs ever go away, which who the fuck knows, none of these prices are ever coming down.
No. Well, that's not. They theoretically could whenever future console generation launches, but I don't even know what Microsoft would do for next console generation. So maybe they will sell at these prices until they're done because it's all just Game Pass.
Well, their whole campaign, which honestly is pretty, looking back now, I think kind of smart. Everything's an Xbox. You don't have to buy an expensive machine. You have a LG, you have a TV, that's an Xbox. You got a computer already? That's an Xbox. You got a phone? That's an Xbox. Go. Yep. Honestly, it's the cost-effective way to get into gaming, which is something that, I mean, Sony has a little bit with their PlayStation Plus. Like, there's a pretty nice catalog. I mean, that's where I played Blueprints through, and there's a ton of other really great games on there. But I mean, Game Pass is the Netflix of gaming in people's heads. So, the Xbox Series S is a window into that. But Jesus, man, it's wild out there.
The 512 gigabyte, so half terabyte Series S is the 80 now. So it's $20 cheaper than that PS5.
There we go. I knew there was one that was at that price point.
But still, I'm like, I would just pay $20 more for a full PS5 and not a hacked down Xbox.
Well, and with the 2020,
and you get Astrobot.
Yeah, 2024 Game of the Year. Holy shit! Yeah. I mean, I've had the digital edition since launch, and it's been great.
Maybe Sony doesn't raise their prices, and this just helps them continue along. I don't know. That probably not. That is me just wishful thinking because these companies want money and they'll do it.
That's why I'm on the edge, like ready to buy a fucking Pro, and like, wow, I'm a sucker. This is all wild. But thinking about, like, I have an Xbox Series X. I bought it like 3 years ago, and that was the cheapest it was ever going to be. Wow, I mean, I spent $500 on it.
Yep. Well, I mean, the Series X now is $600.
I know.
So we have PS5 at $500.
Yeah, 500 for the. I thought the disc one was 500, but you're saying the bundle is 400, so maybe it's 450.
That's not a disc. That's I'd have to check what the price. PS5 when they went to that slim model. Yeah. The pricing got all weird to me. Because it was a little bit of a drop, but not if you wanted a disc drive.
Right.
But if you don't care about a disc drive, it is actually cheaper than the launch 500. It's very weird. It got weird there, but 600. The Series X being 600 is just
the PS5 console Slim with a disc is available on Amazon for $500, $499.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
So $450 for the digital, $500 for the disc. So, but then you saw a $399 bundle.
It's on Sony. I have the link to it. Right.
So you can get it cheaper on Sony with a game than you can get it on fucking Amazon.
Yep.
Cool. Well, goddamn, that's if you don't have a PlayStation, that's the one to get.
Yep.
If you
save $110 by buying it from Sony. So I'm like, it's a good deal. It's a good deal if you want to jump in, and I don't know how long this will exist.
Yeah. Well, if you're a moron like me, you're about to panic buy a fucking Pro because you're just an idiot.
Yeah. But the pricing is going up. The tariffs, I think, are the thing that really triggered everyone to start doing this. But
but they were maybe wanting to do it anyways.
I think that was. I mean, when did the $70 hit?
The first $70. I mean, Breath of the Wild. Or God damn it, Tears of the Kingdom was $70, but it was not the first. It was not the first one though.
First one, yeah.
It was the first Nintendo one, but before that, it was. It wasn't the beginning of this generation. It was.
No, it was mid this generation.
Couple years, yeah. Uh-huh. I forget. It was like NBA 2K.
Sure.
20.
Of course, it was.
It was 23 or 24, whichever one it was. It was the first $70 game.
Okay.
So Grand Theft Auto is certainly coming out at least 80.
Yeah, it's at least 80, if not I mean, they could do 100 at this point. It probably is 80, and then they have a deluxe SKU at. They wouldn't do 100. They do like 120 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and I think so. Playing devil's advocate for a second, which I fucking hate, and I hate when people do that, but I'm gonna do it anyways. For these like evergreen games that you buy once and play for fucking 15 years, like Grand Theft Auto 5, you could have bought in 2013 and still be playing it in 2025. Like paying $60 for it then that's a pretty fucking good deal. So I can kind of see like Mario Kart. I can see them thinking, well, people are going to buy it at the beginning of the generation to spend the top of charts forever. People are going to buy it and play it forever. Like that's a good one-time price. And if they really do explore the scale, I can see some merit in it, but I just don't trust them. I feel like the exploring the scale will be the $70 and $80 side of the scale.
Yeah, no, it's going to be that. I mean, the other point there is like, okay, they're going to get the early adopters. First off, the people that want that, $80. And then they also gives them such more room for discounting over time.
It does. That's
like
right.
5 years down the line, they can say, guess what? We're doing 50% off. And now it's $40. Not like it just overall lifts the entire revenue and tail of the game. I don't think it's good, but I'm sure that's how the finance and marketing is looking at it from those companies. So
it's certainly
making talks like that before.
It's going to make a lot of more patient gamers because at a certain point there are some games I will pay $80 for. Like Mario Kart is one of them. I will pay $80 for that. Grand Theft Auto, I don't give a fuck. I won't pay $20 for that. I'm not going to buy that game. But there are some games that are going to launch at $80 that I'll say, I want to play that eventually. Like Assassin's Creed Shadows launched at $70. I'm like, I do want to play that game. I don't need to pay $70 for it. I waited till it was $50, and that was the right price for me. So I can, to your point, we're going to raise our games to $80. People who FOMO into it in the first month are going to pay $80. Then after that, we can drop it to $70. And like, ooh, it's on sale for $70. When really that's should have been the base price anyway. So yeah, I can see you're just squeezing your main audience. Who are going to pay for it because they want it.
Which is a great segue into, like, I posted a bunch of stuff about this in our Discord on Alana Pierce did a video. There's like this, which was really her summarizing a 230-page PowerPoint presentation of the state of the game industry in 2025. I have to find this guy did it back in 2024 as well, with a similarly long exploration of Matthew Ball, exploration into the really kind of the finances of the video game industry, revenues, trends in that regard. And it's holding true that the game industry actually isn't growing all that much. There was a huge boom, the pandemic. People did idiotically thought it would continue upwards. It did not. It contracted some. Basically, now it came down from 2020 levels, 2021 levels, and it came down not a huge amount, but enough where that's where all the layoffs were happening. And now the game industry is it's up a little bit, but it's holding still. It's not on like that extreme trajectory of revenue of everyone playing games. Right. And I do think a lot of these companies, the big AAAs, publishers and the hardware side of things are now at the point of being like, hey, we're not getting a lot of new people in. So how do we keep showing growth without
line must go
new
up.
people? Line must go up. And they raise prices and squeeze the people that who do enjoy this hobby and do it as a hobby. And you, of course, I'm sure marketing has showed that you'll lose some people to that, but not more than you would make in profit. So that's where we're at.
Yep.
It's not great.
Nope.
But then we sit here and talk about there's all these games you like, the $80 games, but game of the year right now, Clair Obscur is a $50 game.
Yeah, between that and Blueprints, which is the $30 game.
$30 game. Promise Mascot Agency, which I picked up, I think was a $25 game. There's a lot of stuff out there that's at much lower than the $70 and $80 price points.
Well, and
it's good. I'll say that, and they're good games. But
yeah,
they're not your Call of Duties. They're not your GTAs. Unfortunately, but.
Well, it's the idea of exploring the scale, like for the gamer themselves. Like there is a multitude of ways to play games for cheaper prices. Obviously, Humble Bundles is one example, but Steam sales, like there. But yeah, I don't have to play the newest and greatest. This year has been such an amazing thing for me, where I set that $50 or $500 budget on new games, and I've spent $100 of it, and it's made me focus. I am my backlog, which has been great. But then if I get a new game and play a new game. Like I play the shit out of it. Like I would have bounced off of Blueprints and jumped onto the new shiny, but I wasn't letting myself. So I stuck with it, and God, it's one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. I truly love that game. And stay tuned, folks. At some point this year, we're going to do a Blueprint spoiler cast when Anthony.
Yeah, we just have to do it. I have to get through to the credits.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. But you're right. I mean, Blueprints $30, Clair Obscur $50. Like there are amazing experiences that are being put out for a lower price point because just the scope, right? The scope of the games is something. I mean, it's a breath of fresh air for me, where I don't have to play a fucking 90-hour game to really get a great experience, especially in an RPG space, which seems to love the longest fucking games on the planet.
Oh my God, I wanted to check on Sony because like there's also always a bunch. A lot of sales happen on Steam. Steam's a great place for a bunch of indies at all different price points, but there is actually a bunch of sales that happen on all the platform stores as well.
Yeah, sure.
Sony, I think, just had one, or they have a deal thing going on right now, and like I've gotten plenty of good deals on digital Sony stuff. If you look around for physical sales, you'll find them. There's some really good sales sometimes on like actual physical games. But I was just on the Sony store just checking real quickly. I was like, man, I wonder what Ghost of Yote is going to be. They already priced it. It's up for pre-order. It's $70.
$70, yeah, exactly. Unless you want the collector's edition.
Yeah, which is $80.
But no. I'm sorry. I was thinking about the 250 bundle.
The big one that has like the mask and everything. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Exactly. No.
But digital right now, $70. So Sony didn't very quickly raise that price. They're just like, no, this is what it is.
Right. Well, they probably factored that into their development. Yeah.
Yeah. There's part of me that would think that they would have potentially raised the price of that game. But no.
And that's one of the new ones this year that's most likely going to be a day one.
Yeah. Astrobot, $60. Yeah, they're doing okay. Like I'm like, cool. There's things here largely across like different price points, no matter where you decide to play games. Nintendo just changed their algorithm on like the best selling.
To
actually get rid of that shovelware from showing up on there.
I haven't logged into the store since then, but that sounds amazing. They basically changed it so it's top revenue over the last 3 days as opposed to last 2 weeks, which is going to just bury indies who are not as expensive as the AAA games, but
kind of. I thought it was
shovelware.
Yeah, I thought it was revenue, and it was.
I thought it was last 3 days. Maybe I'm wrong.
It is over the last 3 days.
Okay.
Oh no, because it wasn't even over the last 2 weeks. It was like one. They were counting like it wasn't revenue. It was total. It was individual sales. Oh,
that's right. You're right.
And now it's actually revenue based, so people can't do the 99-cent sales or shovelware at 99 cents to like get it to show up. So now that stuff is done and buried. Yeah, it will hide some indies, but I don't think any indies are even excited that there was this weird loophole where you could like get yourself onto that list by releasing crap 99-cent things. Yeah, I just feel like all the changes. Higher price games are here. I don't think there's a ceiling right now. I think they can be any publishers will try probably everything going here on out. I wouldn't expect to see. I would expect to see things at higher than 80 even. But there's also going to be things lower pretty consistently.
Well, and then over time, too, because I'm thinking about it. I mean, obviously this is how it goes anyways, but like thinking about cars or thinking about other products, like they certainly go through sale periods, but I feel like video games specifically go through, except for fucking Nintendo, I know this, but go through pretty good sale windows over time. So within the first year of the game being out, if you can wait a little bit, you'll get it for a decent price. But the thing is, most people want to jump in, when it's in the zeitgeist. So
I mean, I'm waiting on Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get that sometime closer towards the end of summer and fall, and I bet I'll get it for $40, most likely.
Yeah, you'll get it for less than what I got it for.
Just thinking of Ubisoft, how they discount things, and I'm like, I don't need to play it right now. I've had plenty of other amazing games to play. So,
I've only put 3 hours into AC Shadow so far. It starts off a little slow, but then it starts to not get slow, and it's Ooh, I like you. I like you. Looking forward to talking about that with you eventually when you play through it. And then you and I both picked up Clair Obscur.
Yes.
Because the roar of just every single fucking podcast I listen to is just raving about it. Like, okay, I this is one I got to jump into. Yeah.
I don't know how many people are going to listen to this, but I have to also counteract. There's one thing in the messaging around that game that is, I don't think them doing it, but there's this thread that's been consistently talked about, like, look at this amazing game that puts to shame AAA games, and it was made by 30 people. It was not made by only 30 people.
Absolutely.
And people need to stop talking about that. The credits have over 150 people in the credits. The company that worked on it, the main company, Sandfall?
Yeah, Sandfall. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're 30-ish people. They outsourced a ton of stuff and worked with partners for art and animation and mocap and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
And all those things. It's like, no, you're not making a game of this quality at 30 people. You won't. You could, but their dev time would be 2 to 3 times longer than what it was currently to do that. Just to make the content for the game.
And if they weren't outsourcing to places where the labor is cheaper, it would also cost them a lot more.
Exactly. So I don't like that threat. I've seen it over and over, and I'm just like, no. As a developer, I'm like, no. And this isn't me trying to be disparaging that, like, the quality work that they've done. They've honestly made a quality game, but it's also just like, don't ignore all the people that worked on this game to make it this good, please.
Right. Well, and it's not like the AAAs don't also do that. They all do
exactly.
That.
Yes.
So.
If it's a certain quality of art. It's just like, you're not going to, it's just a resource, a money and time estimate you have to make of being like, how much can we make internal? What does that game look like? It probably isn't big enough. Just not how much time it takes to make mostly art assets at this point for games. Just, It's not fast. It's high detail. That's the thing. Alana Pierce's video shows, like, the actual, like, cost of making games has gone up exponentially since, like, the mid 2000s.
And I think about that a lot right now, and I guess I want to ask, because I think about the increase in wages, like in other industries. For example, my industry, like, we get COLA increases, we negotiate for them successfully, and things go up. Labor costs go up because we're negotiating for them. Unions are fighting for that. Video game industry isn't really unionized, but I wonder, are wages still going up because of competition across the industry? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, generally wages have gone up. It follows the trends in tech in that way. But a lot of the costs aren't just wages. It's just pure amount of people that have to work on games to make things. It actually wasn't the Alana thing. It was the first thing I talked. It was the Super Juiced playlist, and he did a thing of, so a AAA game budget in 2000 to 2004 was $47 million. A AAA game budget in 2025, $440 million.
That's wow.
That's not just people. I mean, there's salaries you're paying there, but it's a salary. It is people cost, but the people cost is because, oh my god, to make games so detailed looking, you need a tenfold workforce to do it. Like Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft is one. Bring that up again. They have thousands of people working on those games. Most Assassin's Creed have over 1,000-person team.
Yep.
Working across the globe at every Ubisoft studio, 24 hours a day to get those games out and like even make them in like 3 or 4 years. So welcome to what we've done. I will take blame as the industry dev here. My industry has done to itself in the pursuit of high definition, high detail, photorealism.
Well, and it's so interesting that has happened at the same time where Nintendo has happened, where they haven't chased that trend and have been fairly solvent, but also indie games where that also haven't chased that trend.
Correct.
And sometimes that's like a fucking lotto ticket, I know, but Jesus.
Yeah. It is something that has worried me for a long time, and I feel like there is a point where that has to stop. And I don't know when that is. I mean, I'm not working on a game in a studio that's trying to do photorealism. Our game looks very nice. You can see the trailer. Starseeker. Go search. Watch the trailer. But it's not photorealism, but it's still taking us a fair amount of time to actually make the art for it. So.
But do you feel like I think I don't know if it's like a huge trend, but it feels like the move towards we want to scope a game that is like 20 hours, 25 hours. We don't need a blown up 90-hour game to spend a lot of money on stuff no one's going to see. I feel like at least the gamers that I'm listening to on these podcasts or whatever are just like, thank God this game is a 20-hour game. Thank God it's properly scoped. I don't know if that's something that's going to be a trend, which should bring costs down a bit. It should help on some. And then... But I mean, that's not necessarily going to help your GTAs or your Call of Duties. They might have a short campaign, but they need content that lasts for quite a long time. It's hard. Like it's a self-inflicted wound that the industry has done on itself here in that pursuit. Raph Koster, like a decade ago, did a GDC talk that talked about, especially this being like the chase of photorealism. Like it's like he warned that budgets were going to go up exponentially, going to chase this, but games aren't going to fundamentally be different gameplay wise. Like all this is being done not for better gameplay, and he's mostly right. I'm not going to say that there aren't variations, but I'm like, the super high fidelity of the latest Call of Duty does not necessarily make it play as a better game or be any substantially different than the previous Call of Duties. Exactly. Yep.
So it's a very interesting, like, I'm like, yep, this was warned about for a long time that this can't sustain. But maybe it can if we're going to start bring it back around to raising prices. Maybe that's the extension, gets a few more years before a reckoning comes on going like, hey, maybe you need to better scope these games, better think about, do you need for like high 4K quality textures? Is there a better way to do this? And I don't think AI is the solve for this at all.
I was about to say, some people are going to listen to that and say AI, man. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. I'm like, sure, it might be able to speed up some workflows in some ways. Like I could see, I need help making a texture or making some animation here or there. But you're never going to take the person out of it. You might make the person slightly more productive, but not enough. And it's not going to replace people in the end to actually make quality content. So kind of feel like that's where we're going to be for a bit. So I think I'm done. I'm off my soapbox, I think, now.
Oh, off the soapbox, I guess the podcast is over. Just kidding.
Yeah.
let's pivot then off of price to some of the other shit that happened this week about Polygon and Giant Bomb. Specifically, so for Polygon, the news was that Vox basically sold Polygon this week suddenly, seemingly, to Valnet, which is this trash Canadian pulp fucking publisher. Got their start with, I think, Pornhub or something. Honestly, it was Pornhub or the guy who runs Valnet going gonna say Pornhub. It's probably not Pornhub, but
it
it's
is
one of those.
actually. I'm like, what
is it?
I'm reading this because this is just a wild sentence for a history. Foosball player students Matt Kieser, Stefan Manos, Sam, and Hassan Yosef started a business in online pornography in 2003, growing their successful enterprise under the Brazzers name. Kieser began Pornhub under the company Interhub, separate from Brazzers, and the businesses remained silent partners until Interhub was found to be hosting videos of the rape of an underage girl.
Boy, wow, fucking gross.
And federal investigators, of course, went into that whole thing. Oh, cool. So that's where Valnet started.
Yes, that's where Valnet started, and you don't go up from there.
No.
So here's the fucked up thing.
Sold it, and they're not. Yeah, that's where they started. All the pornography stuff has been sold off, separated from it. So they split the company, and some other company has all the porn now.
So in the games media space, everyone knows Valnet as like the worst of the worst. Like they pay nothing, they're just fucking awful, et cetera, et cetera. You can Google that and find out.
Yeah.
Currently, Polygon, the writers were at the end of their union contract. They're renegotiating their new contract. That's what happens. We have at my college, we have a 3-year contract. We're about to renegotiate our new contract for the next 3 years. So they're in the middle of negotiations. They were not going well. And then they sell to Valnet. So then all the writers are in this fucking awful stable. And some people were thinking this seems like retaliation for those negotiations. Like, you're not going to agree to our terms? Fuck you. Bye. You can go with this like worst of the worst fucking company. So that sucks if that's true. I don't know if it is or is not, but the timing of the negotiations happening around their contract, which is now in limbo, obviously, because they're with a new parent company. So it's just fucking gross, man. So gross.
It is really gross. Oh my god. Do you know Valnet owns OpenCritic?
I do. I learned that this weekend, actually. Yeah, I learned that this weekend.
I don't like any of this. And I really hate, like, I'll be honest, like, I'm sad about Polygon and everything. I've stopped really looking a ton at Polygon a while ago. I think there was a point when I went to the main page and there was like no game news on the main page of Polygon. Mm-hmm. It was all movies and other entertainment. I'm like, it's just an entertainment website now. I'll move along.
Polygon is the website that I've read the most. Like I check it out every day. So now I don't. Now I won't.
Yeah.
Which sucks a lot.
They got rid of a bunch. Yeah. And I think a lot of that has shifted as different entities have owned Polygon and pushed it different ways.
Yeah, for sure.
Who knows what it is now? Maybe now that or very few people are working there. Just AI slop, probably. Let's be honest.
That's what it's going to be now.
Yeah.
It really hasn't been. I've really enjoyed it. But good God.
Yeah, that's... They started in 2012 under Vox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they came out of Joystick. That's right.
That's right. It was Chris Plant because he was.
Yeah. They moved. They went from when Joystick closed down. Oh. Yep. Yeah, it had been a long time. Like when Polygon started, they had great editorials. I loved reading their big, long editorial pieces that they put together. That eventually stopped for the most part, but it was a really neat way to start. They did stuff different than any of the other game sites at the time.
Yeah.
Probably didn't get enough clicks for Vox back in the day, but it was neat.
Well, that podcast that I linked to is the Aftermath podcast. They were talking about how, I think it was Chris Person or Luke. Well, I can't remember his last name. Anyway, he was interviewing people in the last 3 months at different PC Gamer, at Polygon or whatever. And it's just like, how are things going? And he said this week specifically at Polygon, they're like, actually pretty well. We're getting pretty good traffic. Things are going pretty stable, blah, blah, blah. Just the union contract we're negotiating. We'll see how that goes. And then,
we saw how that went.
We saw how that went. Yeah. So, dude, it's just my God. My God.
Oh, I had it pulled out. I'm like, did I have this thing? So, when is this from? This must be from like GDC 2012. I have the business card for Alexa Ray Correa when she wrote for Polygon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We were at the same XCOM talk back at I think 2012 GDC. She's gone on to do like narrative and writing and other stuff, but it's still funny. I'm like, no, I have your Polygon card still.
That's amazing. Keep that.
And now I guess it's going to be a treasured artifact at this point.
Yeah, she was part of the podcast I really liked that I'm blanking on the name of right now until she left and did she wrote a book and narrative stuff.
Yeah, she's done a bunch of stuff since Polygon, but like Polygon was I think her first major like games journalism like job. And I remember talking to her about it and how much I liked Polygon. So rest in peace.
Well, that's not the only one. We've got fandom fuckery over at Giant Bomb. And things are still murky on what's really going on. Jeff Grubb's been on a couple of things since and has talked about how, he signed things, can't really talk about it, and he just wishes people the best who are still there. But basically, Giant Bomb put out a podcast where they were making fun of fandom's PG-13 edict, where they had to keep things and not glorify drugs, not glorify sex, not use any F words, swearing that wasn't incidental and non-sexual.
Giant Bomb.
Seriously, have you ever met Giant Bomb? They really ripped into it, and then that podcast got taken down, and
it's still available. There's like YouTube channels that are like dedicated to keeping it up.
Well, I know it's available there, but like I subscribed to Giant Bomb or whatever.
It got pulled down there.
It got pulled down at the official stuff. I listened to it there, and all of a sudden it was gone out of my feed. Like I downloaded this to my device. What the fuck? But it's gone.
Yeah. That is a sad one to see. Like Giant Bomb's gone through a lot of changes over the years. Being, I think, Jeff Gertzman back in the day. Ryan Davis kind of started it originally. Yep. And then, like, there's been different generations of it. But it's tended to always keep its same tone and style and humor. As far as I can tell, fandom got it in 2022 with a bunch of other stuff. I don't think they cared about Giant Bomb all that much at that point. That wasn't, like, one of the reasons why they were buying this collective of sites. But man, just separate then. Just be like, just do your own thing then. We're done.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if it comes down to what it sounds like it came down to was advertising and advertisers who don't want to be associated with anything beyond PG-13 or whatever, spin off Giant Bomb from the advertising. Like, have a different silo for ads for your R-rated stuff. It's not even R-rated, but whatever. Like, how hard is that? Yeah. I mean, I'm not in the C-suite. I don't know how hard it actually is, but it seems like a pretty reasonable solution if you knew what you were fucking playing with, which clearly the C-suite doesn't know what they're playing with. Like, who in the C-suite listens to Giant Bomb, and knows what they have? I would suspect not most of them.
Yeah, Grubb confirmed he's no longer there. Reichert has stated that he will no longer be appearing on the site or anything that they're doing. He hasn't said if he's gone yet, although he did remove all his statements that he's working there from, like, his social profiles.
Yeah, sure.
So take that whatever you mean. He just doesn't want to be associated with it. It's either he's going to be leaving or just waiting for them to fire him, I guess, because he's like, I refuse to do the work that you're paying me until you tell me to go away. But I'm not doing anything for you.
Exactly.
But I know a lot of other people have left already from there. There's been no statements at all from fandom or Giant Bomb since this all went down.
There has been a statement from fandom that was something like, we apologize for... They didn't say it like this, but we apologize for the turmoil. We'll be back soon with some information. And it wasn't just that Giant Bomb thing, but it was like a fandom response to an interview request where it's like, we're sorting stuff out and we'll be in touch with more information soon or something like that.
Cool. But, man, like I said, I don't follow them greatly, but I'd always listen to the year-end Giant Bomb stuff because they always did some of the best game of the year, like super
oh my god, I love
series
those
of
podcasts
podcasts where they just go through games, and it's like it's a march through like the best games of the year, and it's great, and it's great content, and they talk deep about a bunch of games and a bunch of guests. My God. It's great content, and that's like the main thing. I'm like, no, I listen to this pretty much every year.
I have so many memories of holding my daughter when she was really, really young, middle of the night, just listening to those like long podcasts. When they would come out at the end of the year, I was just so happy. And I listen to Giant Bomb probably once or twice a month. And now no more, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, this whole thing has made me up my membership, or what I pay monthly to MinMax. And then I'm going to subscribe to Aftermath. Because we gotta be paying people, like independent media, like it's got to have your financial support to survive. So even if it's a little bit, put some money into the independent media that you care about. Yeah, and that's my pitch.
It's a good pitch. Aftermath is really good. They're really have enjoyed their content overall. And hopefully they're not owned by anyone. They're fully independent, right? They are. Yes. Worker owned. Thank you, Aftermath.
It's amazing. Yeah. I stumbled into them, probably 6 months ago, and it's like, that's kind of cool. But in the last, probably 3 or 4 weeks, been reading them more. But then since this thing, then I started listening to podcasts. I was like, these are my people. These are like fucking like the focus is on the workers in all of this shit. And it's just like, yes, that's right. That's the focus I want. Not the fucking corpo shit.
Yeah. So. Yep. So, rough week, I think, overall. But time will keep moving on. And hopefully, like you said, support these more independent sites. Go throw $1 here or there. It helps a ton.
Yep.
And you get what you pay for. If you want like more interesting and better games journalism, weirdly what Gamergate wanted but never actually wanted.
Well, the crazy thing about that shit,
they said what they wanted, but then that's not what they wanted. So
fucking Gamergate, fucking Grums now or whatever, like always shitting on all these fucking sites, but always sourcing these sites when they're talking about like the news. Yeah. But eventually, if your goal is to get rid of them, they will be gone, and then what? Then who's your enemy? But the loss of like Polygon and some of these other news sites that put serious money into investigative journalism is the lawyers behind it. So one of the points that they're bringing up in Aftermath that was really interesting to me was the fucking Bobby Kotick article about the fucking Bill Cosby room from Kotaku. So they had gutted Kotaku, so they didn't have as many lawyers going through the articles as they would have before, and it wasn't bulletproof. It needs to be bulletproof, or you will get sued. And Kotick is suing, and probably is going to win. So the loss of these, loss of Polygon here, the loss of the sites that have the deep money behind it to pay for the lawyers means we're going to have articles that are not as vetted. And if you listen to any of these, like Kind of Funny Games Daily, for example, I listen to it every day, that's based off of news reporting that is going to get shittier and less reliable. And it's just tearing apart, like we're seeing writ large in society, what truth actually is. And it's just fucking sad. Yeah.
Kind of Funny still all independent, right? They haven't sold to anybody.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think they ever would. But
I'm just hoping. I'm just like, they've been around a while. I'm like, please make sure
they're absolutely
I never missed it that they good.
No. That's my number one. I supporter of them, MinMax, Axe of the Blood God, and then one more that I'm forgetting about, and then I'm going to sign up for Aftermath, and that's about it for now.
Axe of the Blood God is good.
I love Axe of the Blood God.
Listening to their podcast when I mow the lawn.
Oh, nice! It's your lawn mowing podcast.
That's when I listen to podcasts. Is when I do yard work because
because you're not commuting like I am.
Yeah, I don't do the commute. So that's my thing. And actually, we're into spring and summer where I need to mow the lawn a bunch, and it takes me a couple hours to mow the lawn. So that's podcast time. That's good times.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah, absolutely. I love podcasts. My God, obviously, we've been doing this for 10 years. Love making podcasts too.
Sure.
What else I'd like to do is play video games, though. I will tell you what I've been playing. Blueprints. I have rolled credits. That's an amazing game. I'm going to save everything for our spoiler cast eventually. But man, oh man, you're at the end. No, you're actually not. You got to go do some other shit and then come back. Really, really just an amazing puzzle game. Maybe the best I've ever played.
I think I said it in our Discord, and I've said it to other people. I do think that is the current generation's Myst.
Yeah.
It just is. I'm just like, yeah, this is going to probably go down in the same sentences when people talk about Myst doing the adventure puzzle game back in, the early 90s. Yeah, and even me, I've put a number of hours into it, getting back to where I was from when I played for the IGF. And actually undid a couple things more because that IGF... I've done some more things and some less things. Like, I don't have the elevator down, like the excavation room with the elevator down. I don't have that yet in my current runs.
Foundation?
Yeah, I can't get down there yet. Mm-hmm. It's going to take me time to get that room to pop up and place it. But I did open the orchard, which I had figured out what I need to do to get the code for the gate.
Yep.
But on the IGF bill, I never actually got the rooms, the item in the room to align right so that I could get the code. But my second run this time, I got the rooms aligned right. So I was able to go unlock the orchard and get extra footsteps every day. Got the garage on like my third day in. But again, I knew what I was doing. I was like, I know how to get the garage. I'm going to make that happen because I want this other permanent upgrade.
I totally did that on accident. Like, I had the garage, eventually learned that it had to be on the west wing. But then it opened. I was like, what the I had aligned the breaker box or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was able to open the door. I was like, what the fuck is out here?
Yep.
And I was like, oh, there's a lock here. And I found a picture later that had like the same picture of the orchard, but with the tree up. And then the tree had the code. I was like, oh, wow, this is wild.
Yep. But you need the magnifying glass to read that number.
You do. Yep, exactly. So the RNG, the people who complain about RNG, about things aligning, like, I get it, but it's forgiving enough and you can tweak it enough that it wasn't, too many runs for me not to have that. Yeah.
I'm in the process of doing all the letters for every room, making up that thing. I'm like, that was where I was at the IGF thing. I was starting to put it together, but I was at the point of like, okay, do the pictures and the missing letter, do they match the grid space or is it based on the room? And it's spoilers here. It's based on the grid space. That changes based on like. But I mean, it was something I actually asked my boss on that because I was like, you know what, I am going to do a run just to confirm this. But if you can confirm it for me, I won't do the run. I'll just do it a different way, and confirmed it. And I was like, cool. She actually recommended that playing it with a group of people is really good.
It is really nice because there's little things like that where you're like, I could spend another 10 hours figuring this out, or just shortcut it for me and. Having that discussion is nice. I mean, that puzzle was my favorite because that was the point where my daughter and my wife were playing with me basically, and the art thing came up, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then there was a video, or get the rumpus room where the fucking dude says something. I was like, "Just like the letters, just like the red letters, there's a letter missing, or just like the art, there's a letter missing because there's 7 red letters instead of 8." And I was like, "That's weird." And I said it to my wife and daughter, and they're like, "Oh. Look at the art. There's a letter missing." I was like, oh, what the fuck? And then it's,
so you got to figure it out.
You do. But then the next run, I was like, oh, it's a different room, but it's the same letter. Oh, that must be the same letter. Okay. Then I started filling that out. I was like, oh, this is, and then you figure that out and then you're like, oh, this is a different puzzle. And then the music sheets is a different puzzle. Yeah. It becomes a secondary puzzle.
Yeah. I have the music sheet. So like, that's the thing. I screen capped the music sheets when I was doing the IGF one.
Yeah.
So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. No, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. Oh, I had a lot. I need to go back to my notes there and put them in my new journal.
Yeah, with the screenshotting is nice because you're like, I got this music sheet a long time ago. I haven't seen that room in a long time. And when you get everything, you're like, oh, there's actually something different going on. I need to go see all of them again. Yeah. Oh, but I have pictures. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I've done so much. I have a screenshot and I noted it down on this playthrough. In the utility room, in the fuse box, there's the things you can turn purple.
Dude, that one, I had to go to the internet.
And I'm like, I've turned them purple. I've done all the purple, and like, I understand that. I'm just like, I don't know what it does.
It's. I mean, I can tell you if you want, but
no, not right now. But I'm just I'm like, I did all the things, but I don't know what this actually does. I haven't connected this to me doing this, a result someplace else.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not. It's in the room. So if you haven't seen something in the room happen, then you're not done.
Oh my God. In the fuse box room?
You're not done.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had to actually go to the internet on that because I thought it was what you just said. And maybe that does something else. I don't know, but it didn't do anything. So I was like, okay, what is it? It's not that. But all the text you find makes it seem like it's that. Turn it all purple.
Yeah. 5 purple indicators are needed to activate the 6. So it's like, all right, I can turn them all purple. But okay, clearly it's.
But you need to turn them all purple to then do the next thing with the lights.
Cool.
And when you finish that, then very clearly in front of you, something happens that you need. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's helpful to do. Yeah. But at that point, I had to consult a guide, and I was like, okay. And I followed the steps. I was like, I would never in my life have figured this out. So.
Yeah. I had the periodic table. I have the message from that, but I have to do a lot on, like, that's just going to be a thing of, do I have the boiler room to power, to get the power to the lab to do the thing I need to do there?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just layers upon layers of these puzzles.
It's so cool that when you finish the game, you're like, oh, I just finished the tutorial. Okay, great.
People have said that, and I'm like, I don't even understand how you recontextualize this game to be even more. And I'm sure it'll blow my mind when I get there and be like, oh my God.
Honestly, I shed a single tear when I rolled credits when there's what happens. I was like, oh my God. And then there's like, then you move into like the next thing is about story, not just about puzzle,
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. Wild. So one day we'll do a spoiler cast. I know we did a couple spoilers there, but yeah.
Yeah. I kind of can't believe, like, Blueprints in development, 8 years. Holy shit.
What a fucking monumental achievement, man. And it's funded based on a fucking Magic the Gathering website. That's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, the dude. Yeah, he just, I don't know. Yeah, just made a crazy website that gave him revenue and he could make little games. And this is what grew out of it.
Yep.
And yeah, I think this is, what is it currently? Blueprints is the 4th highest rated game of the year so far.
Wow, it slipped down a little bit, or else something else popped above it.
Clair Obscur is number 1. Split Fiction and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh, that's right.
Both higher, a little bit higher than it. But wow, yeah, banger of year. But yeah, that's all I don't know. You can talk about other things you've played. I've only played Blueprints.
I mean, Assassin's Creed Shadows, I played 3.5 hours or so, and it starts off a little slow where you're kind of railroaded through. You start as Yusuke and then you switch over to Naue, and you're kind of having to do what it tells you to do. And then you're kind of, the story moves on based on what happened, and you're kind of stuck into a sequence of moving the story forward a little bit. But then you finally get into the open world. I'm finding, and then you play as Naue for the most part. So I'm playing as Naue. I'm out in the open world. I'm able to climb things and get to the top of the tower. You can't climb everything in the game, though. Like, you really can't just traipse anywhere. You really have to find the pathways to get up. The world looks amazing. It really looks gorgeous. I'm playing on Xbox Series X.
Okay.
The stealth is hard at the beginning.
Oh.
I really had to, like, I couldn't figure out how to stealth my way through this area. You're not supposed to, like, it's just, they see you, you're dead. So I just fucking, after like the 10th try, I was like, I'm just going to try running. So I just ran through the whole thing, and I got to the next cutscene. I was like, there was probably some other way to do this, but I couldn't see where the bushes were that I needed to hide in to sneak by. But it feels more consequential, the stealth. Like, it really isn't something you can just not think about. You really do have to think through the encounters, and I find that kind of fun, to be honest. So I'm enjoying that. And then the other game I played this week is for the RPG backlog, played through the next section of Final Fantasy 3. And the amount of jobs in that game and the way that you need to transition into different jobs to do the next piece is really cool. I just did the part where I fought Garuda and we had to be dragoons to really have a chance in that fight. And it was really cool. So enjoying that. Check out the RPG backlog to hear us talk about that. And that's it, really. I spent a lot of time this week working, so not a ton of gaming.
Yeah, I know how that goes. Mm-hmm. Such is my life as well.
Yeah.
But cool. Yeah, no, that sounds great. We will plan a time for Clair Obscur.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
I have another person just that I know, a friend here who is just hounding me to play.
Oh, okay.
He's just loving it. He's like, play it. I'm like, I will. I just need get myself through blueprints. That's all I need to do.
Exactly. Yeah, don't stop until you finish that.
And I'm actually not buying any games until July at this point.
Gotta get past Final Fantasy Magic cards.
Yeah, I'm just saving my budget for Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to buy so many Final Fantasy Magic cards. We will need to do some trading. I will tell you if you get me. I'm trying to put together an entire set. Not of the collector and the full arts and all that, but just like at least the base set. I probably will spend some money on some full arts and special arts that look cool.
Yeah, I'm happy to trade, and I'm not going to get a full set, but I definitely want all the cards that I care about. So
yeah, exactly. I think you don't care about nearly as much as I do.
No, I mean, despite I'm playing through some of the Final Fantasies now and catching up, but no, like for example, Final Fantasy 12, like I'm sure you're gonna want every single 12 card that exists.
They still only. That's the thing. By the time we record our next podcast, will be the.
Oh shit!
It's next Friday. It's next Friday at PAX East.
Finstar
is everywhere now.
I thought it was next Saturday. It's the 10th. I thought.
It's the 10th next Saturday?
10th is Saturday. Yeah.
It is Saturday, so it's next Saturday.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's right before our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just see all the stuff.
Tune in next week for Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering podcast.
Yeah. I feel like there has to be a Balthier and Fran. If they're going to do anything from 12, that's the 12 characters you do.
I mean, they're going to do one of everyone, right? There's going to be a Vaughn,
I don't know. There's
Fran.
There's so many characters. They can't do every character.
Yeah, right.
So I feel like they'll pick and choose some. I would love that to the entire cast, but I'm fucking.
Oh,
there's only 6. There's only 6 playable characters.
That's what I'm talking about. All of them are going to be on there for sure.
Yeah.
Beyond that, from that game, I don't know, but
Gabranth probably.
Yep.
They're just gonna do that Judge Gabranth in his judge armor. Like that's such an iconic kind of thing.
Why am I blanking on the princess's name? What's her name? Ash. Yeah, I want an Ash card.
I assume there'll be an Ash card. Yeah, you're right. I think they'll do a fair amount there. They might trick it in some ways, and it might be a Balthier and Fran card.
Oh yeah, maybe
both characters. It's like they've done that in other Magic cards where they have 2 characters. As a creature card. But whatever. That's coming. I will nerd the fuck out.
Oh God, my God, I'm excited. I cannot wait. I will be buying a couple boxes to fucking crack packs.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, cool. Well, thanks everyone for listening to this podcast. If you like our podcast, please rate it on your podcast service of choice. It really helps with visibility. Love having new listeners come in and check out our podcast. And we will be back next week to talk about Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy edition.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. All right. Later, everyone.
All right. See you later, folks.